Post-game show as the Vols, Crompton, they lost their fifth straight game by double digits for the first time in school history, which is very painful to hear that. 30-17, Tennessee loses to the Auburn Tigers after this was a 10-10 halftime game earlier in the evening. So we have a lot of things we're going to get to in this Big Orange post-game show. Jonathan Crompton, former Vols quarterback. I'm Austin Stanley of A to Z Sports. Big Orange post-game reaction show is brought to you by BioPure Music City. Keep your crew protected from the flu with BioPure Music City, 615-635-0555 to have them come disinfect your home or your business. And also Ashbusters Chimney Service, the professionals when it comes to sweeping inspections and masonry. Ashbusters.net is where to go. Jarrett Garantano played clean in the first half. The second half begins, Crompton, with a promising drive by the Vols offense with a lot of rushing and then a pick six in the red zone, a return to 100 yards by Auburn. And that was basically all she wrote. We got to see Harrison Bailey there. I see a lot of comments flying in saying, fire him tomorrow. I'm done. Worst quarterback in the SEC. Vandy's going to win next week. All these things. But Crompton, we always like to start this off, is what is one word you use to describe the Vols' loss to Auburn tonight? I'll let you get it going. Then we'll read some comments. One word to describe this Vols' loss, the fifth loss in a row by double digits in school history.
I've got a lot of adjectives going through my head right now.
I'm sure you do.
Some I can say, some I can't say. But I'm going to go with passionless.
What was that?
That's passionless.
Passionless. Okay.
I say that meaning there's something, and I hate to keep saying there's something wrong, something missing. Look at TV timeout, flip it over Georgia game, Georgia Mississippi State or the Liberty NC State game. You see these programs and somebody messes up, the coach rips their rear end. We get a crucial PI and he comes off the field and nobody says a word to him. He just walks by the coaches, nothing. And why are you there? You know what I'm saying? That's what bugs me. Just to no end that I understand that there's a time and a place, but when we all know they're running a slant route, everybody knows they're running a slant route. They draw it on the TV screen that he's running a slant route. That's how predictable it was. And we get a PI and you don't even get mad at him.
Right.
And so I'm saying passionless from everybody, top down.
So, I mean, that's good. It's just mind-boggling to watch again of just this team just sucks so bad in the third quarter. I saw the stat. I'm sure everybody saw the stat. In their last 5 games, they've been outscored 98-7. I think it's 6 games now. But 98-7 in the third quarter, that's unheard of. It's how can you be that bad in the third quarter coming out of halftime where you're supposed to be regathered? You're supposed to be
seriously.
You're supposed to be on the same page, but the third quarter is the worst. Like, you've played for a lot of football teams in your life, whether it's high school, college, the NFL, the Canadian Football League. How is a team so bad in the third quarter this consistently?
That's it. Honestly, that is the $1 million question on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire that nobody will win, because, like you said, you're supposed to gather yourself, be rejuvenated, be rested, offensively and defensively. You've had 15 minutes to physically get your wind back, to get, like you said, regathered, and then you just come out and just piss it in the wind.
Yeah.
I mean, either way. Now, touching on that pick six real quick, though, we ran the ball great down the field, but if you go back and look, and Greg McElroy said it correct on TV, the receiver screwed him. Now, that is not saying he should have thrown the ball.
Exactly.
But you don't make a bad play worse. You don't inside release on that. But if you see that, hey, dude, chunk it in the stands, throw it in wherever. Just don't throw it to them. So it's not all on him, but at the end of the day, it is on him for throwing the ball. It was just all around just a not clean play that obviously kind of changed the whole momentum of the game. And at that point, you could kind of feel the wind and the sails go, just poof, everybody was done.
Yeah. And I tweeted this. It shows me how poorly coached this Tennessee football team is, that one mistake ruins the entire game. There is zero perseverance, zero.
Yep.
I don't even know what to say, but it's just the fact that one bad catastrophic play. Now, it was awful, right? Because you think you got it. Even if an incompletion happens there, you kick a field goal and it's tied 13-13 and you live to play another series on defense and on offense. But it just all goes wrong. And then what happens on the next kickoff? Velus Jones Jr. decides to run it out of the end zone and slips on the 8-yard line. You're like, what in the hell is happening? But once again, they actually put a drive together. They move the ball down the field. They get some penalties from Auburn's defense. Then they miss a field goal. And everything continues to unravel. And at that point, listen to this. I had a buddy text me this. Tennessee had the ball for 10 consecutive minutes. And into that 10 consecutive minute span, -7. Not just 0.
I was just saying we didn't score any points, but yeah, -7.
You had the ball for 10 straight minutes, and you were -7. That's absurd.
Unheard of. Unheard of.
And I saw somebody else say like a stat. There's so many stats floating out there on Twitter that are just make you want to smack your head up against a brick wall, that Tennessee's offense has given up more points in the second half than it's scored itself over the last 4 games. Right now, the second half score, while Tennessee's offense is on the field, is 3 defensive touchdowns to just 2 offensive touchdowns. It's absolutely inexcusable of how this happened.
The last 5 games, we're -103 in scoring.
That's insane.
I mean, that says it all itself. We are -103. Not to say, I mean, don't get me wrong, we should stop guys on defense, but not all of those are on the defense. You know what I'm saying? Because it's if we go 3 and out and they just had a long drive, that's the reason why football is the ultimate team sport, because everybody has a role. Yeah. But -103 the last 5 games. I mean, that's just, and those are think about it though, 5 double-digit losses in a row. Yeah. First time in school history. And we're sitting here saying that, I mean, just at the end of the day, I've said it Thursday, man, this starts at the top down.
Yep.
So I mean, physically.
Yeah. We're talking a lot about what happened here. Jonathan Crompton here with us live on A to Z Sports Vols Postgame show, Big Orange Postgame here, brought to you by BioPure Music City and Ashbusters. We asked what's one word to describe how you feel about this Vols loss. Passionless was Crompton's word. My word that I'm going to go with is hopeless, because they're hopeless in so many ways. Like, they can do nearly everything right. That third quarter was actually a really damn good quarter, minus the one play, because the defense
exactly one play.
The defense got to stop, only gave up a field goal. Then you put together 2 really pretty drives until the one play and the missed field goal. But Eric Gray ran for the Vols ran for over 100 yards in the third quarter alone. So my word is hopeless. And I feel like I've been saying this the entire season, and we've yet to see it, minus a screen pass against Missouri behind the line of scrimmage to Eric Gray. Jarrett Garantano has not thrown a touchdown pass in the red zone all season. If you think about his touchdown passes, again, minus the one screen, which was behind the line of scrimmage, he has not thrown the ball downfield for a touchdown in the red zone. Why? It's because he's processing things too slow, and he's always been this way. He's processing things too slow, and he is hopeless in the red zone when you get into must-pass situations. And that's what they got into right there in the third quarter. And the pick 6, 100 yards the other way, ruined the entire game. So my word's hopeless.
Here's what I'll say is I'm not going to disagree with necessarily the processing things too slow. But at the end of the day, I'm going to kind of steal this from Aaron Murray, what he said about Georgia's guys. Until they get a dog outside, this is going to continue to happen.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong, we have athletes, but we don't have that just pure number one. This is a beast. You know it. Robert Meacham. We're going to throw you hits and he's going 80 guy. We don't have that.
Yeah. Well,
the negative is, well, no, exactly. But I'm just saying right now, though, because remember, this is a what have you done for me lately sport.
Yeah, but
we just don't have that guy.
But this isn't a new problem. This Jarrett Garantano processing things slow, and so red zone efficiency is that bad. Like, this is not a new thing. This happened last year.
I'm not defending him.
When they had Jennings and Callaway, two guys that went up and got the football that could not be denied. Like, they showed the graphic early in the game about where Tennessee ranked nationally and in the SEC in third down offense. Last year third in the SEC. This year dead last. Last year overall, like top 30, top 40. This year 119. That is literally Juwan Jennings and Marquez Callaway. That's the difference. The difference in those two stats are those two wide receivers who can make plays with yards after the catch and going up and getting contested footballs. And they don't have those two guys. And bad JG, is really showing even worse. So here's a question I want to get to with everybody here watching. We got a big audience here on the Big Orange Postgame Show, A to Z Sports, Jonathan Crompton and Austin Stanley with you on a Saturday night. Who do you blame most for the Vols' loss at Auburn? Who do you blame most for the Vols' loss at Auburn? Is it Jarrett Garantano or is it Jeremy Pruitt? That's the question. But first, let me tell you guys about BioPure Music City. Protect your crew from the flu and the coronavirus with BioPure Music City, 615-635-0555. Have them come out to your home or your business to disinfect your space. They do the electrostatic spray services, which is phenomenal. It's EPA regulated for the coronavirus and the flu. It's great for staff as well. So whenever your family is getting ready to come over for the holiday season, make sure you protect them from everything, really, all germs. And that is a great way to do it with BioPure Music City, 615-635-0555. So a loaded question here because we got a lot of comments.
That's what I'm doing. I'm just
a lot of comments. Pick one. All right. Who do you blame more for the loss at Auburn? Is it Pruitt or is it Jarrett Garantano? Crompton, I'll let you go ahead and start, and then I'll try to read comments. There's just so many. I don't know if
there's so many. Dude, they're coming in like wildfire. But honestly, to me, it's a no-brainer. It's Pruitt. No-brainer.
Okay.
I mean, because just in the reality of the situation, you're the head coach, right? I was watching a game earlier today, and the reason why I say this is Ohio State with Ryan Day, right? They let Indiana back in the game. They shouldn't have, but they did. They're going last drive of the game. It's third down. They've got to get 3 yards. You get the first down, you ice the game. Announcer clearly states it. He could have said it better. Head coach has to trump OC. Head coach has to trump the OC, and you're running the ball. Whether you get it or not, you're wasting 40 more seconds. So I say that meaning Pruitt, because at the end of the day, he's the head coach. I know he's not the OC, and Day is, but I'm just saying, you're the head coach. What you say goes. If you don't want this play call, you stop it. I've seen it happen before. If you don't want a certain scenario to go down, you stop it. I've seen it happen in person, right? That's why I use the word passionless. It's almost like he's just there and just kind of filling a void on the sideline. I know that he's got a lot going on in his head. Now he's the D-line coach, all this. But you know what? Don't take on that role if you don't want it. You're the head coach. It starts at the top and it starts above him, but on the field it's him. So for me, he's got to put his foot down and actually get some control over what the hell's going on. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah. And John says Pruitt, he's the one that's collecting a check, which is fair, right? Like in college athletics, like typically you want the blame to go on the head coach, but oftentimes you see Jarrett Garantano make the same damn mistakes week after week, and it killed this football team. Like,
okay, are you ready for this? No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But how does it start when you're a player? Why do you have coaches? To coach you.
To make you better and to put you in the right situation.
To make you not make that same mistake again.
But here's how I feel about this. Because overall, big picture, Jeremy Pruitt ain't it. And I've decided this. My moment where I have two moments. The moment when I knew Butch Jones ain't it was 2015 at Florida. That was the chart didn't say go for two game. That was a screw the chart. Your chart was wrong. You should have gone for two. You lost to Florida when you shouldn't have. That was me being out on Butch Jones. Me being out on Jeremy Pruitt was the last game they played at Arkansas when you should have kicked the damn field goal to make it a one-possession game so you actually have a chance to do something and to help your team win when he literally did not coach to help his team win. He coached to not let his team win. So I am out on Pruitt. He is not it. I don't know when he's going to get fired. We'll talk about that here in a few minutes.
I love when you get fired up.
I'm very.
No, I say that because that's what all these comments. That's what everybody's wanting to say, but it's just me and you talking because it's the opposite of my word. It is actual true passion for the program.
Yes.
Because that's what we have. That's what our fan base has. I know every team has fans that can do this and this. That doesn't matter. The majority of our fans are true fans, and that's just the reality is we're not allowing them from the top to feel good about our program. We're not.
Okay, so now when we talk about tonight, I think that tonight I put this on Jarrett Garantano. Jarrett Garantano is more of why they lost to Auburn because when you look at everything outside of Jarrett Garantano, like the defense, I thought did well. Like the defense.
See, I disagree with you on that.
They did like the defense.
Well enough.
But when they continue to have their backs broken by the offense, what else can you expect the defense to do but to have this it happened again where
the thing is though, at least we sustain drives. I mean,
that's true.
Let me take that back. Not we. Eric Gray sustained drives.
Yeah, well,
at least the O-line finally got their head out of the rear end and gave some holes, and he made some guys miss. Hell, he had 60 rushing yards on draws, which is on two draws, unheard of. But at least we stayed on the field for the defense. The blown coverage, I get it happens every now and then, but that shouldn't happen on just a straight seam route by a slot receiver.
Yeah.
We gave up too many chunk yards. Now, we didn't, quote-unquote, break.
Right.
But we gave up too much stuff because knowing our limitations on offense and our strength, especially tonight for Gray going for 173, was we needed to run the ball, so we needed to be on the field more. So that's why I'm going to disagree with about the defense. They played well enough, but they just didn't stop when we needed to stop.
And Joshua says the defense is actually really good. I don't think they're really good. I don't think they're really good.
They're a good defense overall.
They're fine.
It's just times. Our defensive scheme does not play well against the spread. That's just the bottom line.
The defense is fine. Like you've got guys out there who can play. I thought Henry Toto might have had his quietest game of his career. But anyway, that's a different point. So you bring up the offense. Why I think Jarrett Garantano is the reason why this team could not beat Auburn, because they should have beaten Auburn. If you think about it, they should have. The shortest drive of the entire second half for the Vols was 54 yards, and it was the last drive of the game when the clock ran out because they went 10 plays, 63 yards, and then the pick six happened. They come right back, 9 plays, 72 yards, missed the field goal. And what happened? And again, like, how are they getting those 72 yards? It's run. It's a couple penalties by Auburn helped them out, but running the ball, Eric Gray, literally 5 times in a row, Eric Gray, and then Jarrett Garantano sacked on 3rd and 4, and you have to kick a longer field goal, and he misses it. It was a 37-yard field goal. You can't miss that.
But think about this, though, because I'm going to kind of prove your point because you're right on this. Pick 6, we throw it out of the back of the end zone, no big deal. Take off 7 points. Make our 2 field goals. 50-yard field goals for somebody at this level is I'm not saying you should go 100%, but, dude, if you get one 50-yard field goal attempt a game, you should make it.
Well, what happened on 3rd down before the 50-yard field goal miss?
Once again, we all know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
what happened is Jarrett Garantano sacked for loss of 5.
That's what I'm saying. It's typical, and that's the crappy part.
Yeah.
Like, but think about it. We make the 2 field goals, which we should make, and you take away the interception. Count that point.
Yep.
We're winning. You take away 13, and you give us 6. That goes 7. It's 23-17 now. they didn't really do anything to beat us. You're right, we beat ourselves, but I wasn't sold on our defense tonight overall. But I still have to put it on the coach because the coaching is not there to make these mistakes go away.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. Yeah, I know he's throwing the ball, and I get it. He makes the ultimate final decision on the field, but he's not – it's almost like something's going on, and I know I'm saying this not fully meaning it. It's almost like this stuff's going on purpose, it feels like. It's just, what the hell's happening?
Yeah. Oh, man. But again, let's think about this. Those points you're talking about, the pick six and the two missed field goals – Jarrett Garantano took a sack on third down before both missed field goals to make them longer. And obviously he threw the third down pick six. So, I mean, it's on Jarrett Garantano. And here's another quote that I saw from Jeremy Pruitt. I wanted to try to pull this tweet up because a lot of things have happened. And David Ubben of The Athletic says, in answering a question, does Jarrett Garantano give Tennessee the best chance to win? Quote, absolutely. If I didn't think so, I wouldn't play him. He didn't miss two field goals. He didn't blow a coverage. Oh, but coach,
this is what I'm saying at halftime. Whether we like it or not, he's riding with him. He is proven that. I'm not saying it's the right answer. I'm not saying it's the wrong answer because obviously I'm not in those meeting rooms, but I can tell you from being in those meeting rooms before and being in situations of, adversity, he obviously is going to ride with him for whatever reason. Now, I did like what I saw from Bailey. I'm not saying he didn't get the biggest opportunity, but he did at least make a couple throws.
Well, and Bailey's
I'm not saying they were like just astonishing throws, but he made the proper throws, if that makes sense.
And Bailey's not playing against the same defense, right?
Exactly.
Auburn's up, up 2 scores with not any time left. Auburn's not going because Auburn was blitzing Jarrett Garantano, and I think it's up to JG a little bit and Chaney and the offensive line to recognize better where that pressure is coming from because that hurt him quite a bit. Let's see. Jacob says, after seeing Bailey tonight, how can you ride with him? I mean, I think you can ride with Bailey tonight. He looked. You have to.
I think you can. I think you can give him next week personally. Now, like I say, Vandy's went the whole year with a true freshman quarterback. Yeah, they're over, but at least they've been somewhat competitive in some games. Nobody saw what they did today coming, not necessarily offensively, but just hanging in that game for a little while. But next week might be a week that if you're going to give him more meaningful reps, that you give it to him. Not necessarily say he should start and play the whole game because obviously that's not up to me. I'm just saying if you're going to give him some meaningful game time reps against starters, Vandy might be a team to do it against.
Yeah, A to Z Sports, the Big Orange post-game show. I've got another quote from Jeremy Pruitt that I'm going to read here in a second. But Crump, I mean, take us through what you think about Harrison Bailey and how he composed himself down the stretch. Really tell us what you thought about him and his mechanics. I thought he was pretty patient in the pocket a little bit when he was seeing some blitz.
For what the situation was, I was impressed in the sense of you could tell he wasn't going to be shaken a lot, you know what I mean, emotionally, which is a good thing at the quarterback position, but sometimes you got to have a little fire, you know what I mean? But I like that he's going to be even keel. You can tell guys respond well to him. He made some nice throws, but then he had a couple throws. You're like, what the hell was that? But that also could be the wrong route. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff that goes into that. But at least for the majority of his completions, you could tell they were put in the right spot. Upfield shoulder, give the guy a chance, you know what I mean? Finding your time. I did like to see that stuff, especially from a young guy. I liked his pocket movement a little, but here's the thing, though. This is where he hasn't had those game reps. Pocket movement, man, in the SEC, it's a little bit different than Marietta, Georgia in high school, right? It's just different. Guys are moving it a step faster. So, you saw him take that sack there. He did a great job moving in the pocket, but now you got to have an internal clock a little quicker to get that ball, just throw it away.
Sure.
You know what I mean? No big deal. But then again, we've been having the same problem with JG. So the plan would be is to get away from that. Right. So, but like I said, I liked some of the things I saw. I just need a bigger sample size against starters and meaningful snaps. Right. Well, the way to get it is to let him try it.
Sure. No doubt.
I mean, like I said, why not Vandy?
I agree with you. We'll talk more about that. There is a quote from Jeremy Pruitt that makes me feel like he's losing it. Like it's something where you watch these press conferences, and I'm gonna go over it. You watch these press conferences with coaches, as they cycle through the program, and you start to see how they answer questions differently. I'm going to read this Jeremy Pruitt quote again from David Ubben of The Athletic, and we're all going to collectively roll our eyes so hard in the back of our head. But real quick, let me tell you about Ashbusters Chimney Service, ashbusters.net. Your chimney experts for sweeping, inspections, masonry, whatever it is, custom work, they got you. They are fantastic. They do great work in the Nashville area at ashbusters.net. And if you live in East Tennessee, they also have you covered with ashbustersknoxville.com. Again, before you light that fire in your fireplace this holiday and winter season to cozy up to it, make sure everything is acting as it's supposed to be. Ashbusters.net is where to go. All right, you ready for this quote? I'm just reading from David Ubben on Twitter.
I hear the excitement in your voice, so I'm ready for this.
All right. Jeremy Pruitt said he texted Brian Maurer, who didn't make the trip, before the game, and said if they won tonight, it would be because of the look Brian Maurer gave the defense on scout team this week. Said Maurer was, quote, phenomenal in practice. The fact that Jeremy Pruitt is having to mention that in a post-game press conference tells you everything you need to know. He's losing it. He's losing it. He's at the point where he is now bringing up BS for no reason in post-game press conferences. We're in a game that he lost. And again, the 5th consecutive game the Vols have lost by double digits for the first time in school history.
Sorry, I can't stop laughing because what the hell?
That is so
I don't even know what to say to. I don't even know what to say, dude. I don't even know if Butch would have went to that level. That's saying something.
By the way, happy 4-year anniversary to the Champions of Life quote today.
I saw that.
November 21st, 2016. Happy 4-year anniversary of Champions of Life. And this makes me feel exactly that. So now after I just went complete in on this, I'll let you react to it as well.
As you can tell, I'm at a loss because I don't know why you would even bring that up. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know in his mind, he's probably going, I'm trying to let everybody know that I'm keeping everybody involved on the team. You know, we're team first, all this, right? But why do you feel the need that you should tell the media that? Is my point. Like here's the thing, like I've said, and I'm good. I will stick to what I say on this. Now the stats speak for themselves. We've never had 5 straight losses of double digits, ever. End of the day, when are you going to admit you made a wrong decision, and why did that person get an extension? That's just the bottom line. That is SEC football. I'm going to go this route. And it might make some people mad. That's fine. It might make some people love the quote. That's even better. I've said it before, some of the best advice I ever got was if you're going to do something, especially coaching, right, at your quote unquote alma mater, high school, college, wherever, if it's you need to leave and make a name for yourself outside and then come back. Hence, the 2 guys I mentioned that were willing to take a pay cut. They made names for themselves outside of Tennessee. So I'm loving that they're back. Right? But I'm not always cool with people that are saying, oh, well, he graduated from here. He did this. He needs to be this coach, or he needs to be in this in charge. Well, did he go somewhere else and make a name with people he didn't know and a program he didn't know and make a name for himself in that industry? We have 2 guys that did, but we also have people in charge that didn't.
Right.
And so now think about it. If I'm the head honcho and you're the head coach, right? and I'm always breathing on your neck about what we used to do, what we used to do, what we used to do, that's eventually going to get to you because I'm trying to get you to do it the way I did it back in the day. Well,
Right.
dude, back in the day's gone. We're in a different era of football. So at the end of the day, that's my stance. If you're going to clean house, you need to clean house from the top down and understand that we have two guys that were willing to take a pay cut, and they made names for themselves in the coaching world outside of their alma mater. They did things. They showed they could recruit across the country and get guys anywhere they needed to go and have them produce and not just use the fact that I graduated from there, so I should coach here.
So while you were talking there, I'm trying to scan Twitter as I'm listening to you, and I'm reading all of your comments, and this is just, it's like drinking out of a fire hose right now. But I see this tweet.
For real.
I see this tweet from Emily Proud of Channel 2 here in Nashville saying Pruitt is getting irritated, asked about fans not liking the direction of the program, and I have the video clip ready to play of how Pruitt responded to this situation. So again, the tweet is Pruitt getting irritated, asked about fans not liking the direction the program is going in, and here is Jeremy Pruitt's response.
Coach, what would you say to any fans or any other reservists who are starting to have questions on the progression and direction of this program?
It ain't my job, guys. My job's to coach, okay? All right, if you want to ask me a football question, ask me a football question.
You want to ask me a football question? Ask me a football question. He's not.
I got some.
You got some football questions? I can forward you the Zoom link to the press conference. I don't know if it's still going on.
I just got a few. Hey, it's one of those that I'm going to ask it, and then I'm going to do the old school that we used to make fun of. I'm just going to hang up and listen.
Yeah.
Like, why do you not kick a field goal 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing 2-minute drill before halftime?
Yeah.
Why are we not still running the ball and running down the throat the whole drive? You're the head coach. You make the final decision. I can keep a list going. I'll ask you a football question.
Well, his football question is talking about how great Brian Maurer was on the scout team this past week. Like, give me a break.
So, I mean, that's, and I know I went on a little bit of a rant a minute ago, but I feel passionately about that because I don't like seeing this stuff happen. Nobody does, especially ex-players. I mean, you should see some of this stuff. Guys, I wouldn't have went there if I didn't want to go there. You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, I feel bad for JG because of what he's given and the crap that he has had to deal with in the sense of, and he's had some bad O-line play over his years. He's had some not great talent around him every year. You know what I'm saying? But he's taken it on the chin. He's been a man. And he still says, I love that university. At the end of the day, if you can't admit that he is a good human being, then that's where we'll disagree. I'm not saying he's the best football player, but at the end of the day, he's a great human when it comes to that, but it's also about producing. He's not being given the advantage to produce, and not just him, but a lot of guys, because they're not being put in a position to be able to produce.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so many.
I'm curious. I want your opinion.
My opinion?
If it's you, if it's you, and this is obviously completely hypothetical, if it's you making a decision, and as much as I am a Jim Chaney fan, and I love what he has done over the course of his career, you can see the schematics of what he wants to do, but you can only call plays to your skill set of your players. So that being pushed aside, if it's you, do you – not this year, but do you just not renew his contract and promote T next year?
You talking about Chaney?
Yeah.
I think that would be the best thing to do.
But in doing that, I'm saying, do you keep it in house and give the reins to T?
I'm very curious to see what T Martin would be able to do with an offense. I am. I mean, I know he was like kind of like half-time, part-time play caller at USC.
Yeah.
But I would be very interested to see what a T Martin play calling offensive scheme would look like for sure.
I'm interested because he's proven he can get guys to come.
Yeah.
And play for him. He's proven that he can coach them into first and second round draft picks like he did at USC. And it wasn't like it was just guys from Cali.
Yeah,
from Florida and New Jersey and all this stuff that's easier to recruit for us because they're on the East Coast. Well, so I would be intrigued.
the one thing I look at is you look at the position groups that you see making improvements that are actually like playing better football. The wide receivers are doing that. Like the wide receivers
the running backs.
and the running backs. The wide receivers are talented. The running backs are talented, but they're both position groups look like they are improving. And so I think T. Martin probably deserves more now. But the whole thing is you have to get somebody on the coaching staff who knows how to develop and is proven to develop quarterbacks. Chris Winkie is a high school football coach and a failed NFL quarterback coach from the LA Rams. That's all Chris Winkie has done on his resume before Tennessee as a quarterback coach. Oh, and by the way, won the Heisman when he was like 27 years old at Florida State because he played minor league baseball. So Chris Winkie,
but all that's true. All that's 100% facts.
Yes. So we're like 35 minutes in this post-game show. Everybody's reacting. I'm reading a ton of comments. It's hard to bring up the comments. Evan says Chaney isn't the best OC in the world. He's not trash though, and Pruitt is the problem, not Chaney. I mean, I don't disagree with that. I think the quarterback is the problem because I was listening to Brent Hubbs this past weekend on the radio here in Nashville on the Midday 180, and he talked about a great play that Chaney schemed open, and that was Dom Wood Anderson at Florida last year, and Garantano missed him. He was wide open for a 70-yard touchdown, which would have made the game 7-7, and he flat out missed him by like 15 yards. I look at more good schemed open plays that Garantano missed that Chaney drew up, and it was the BYU game of last year. There were multiple touchdown passes that JG just flat out missed with wide open guys, and JG was late getting there, and they flashed to Chaney in the booth, and he's red throwing his headsets and spiking pencils and stuff because Chaney did his job, but the quarterback that he has in place can't execute, and they don't have anybody on staff.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
To develop, and it drives me insane. The problem
I'm not disagreeing with that at all. Go ahead.
The problem with Chaney is he's making $1.5 million. That's
exactly.
Yeah.
But like I said, he's a proven really good play caller. Proven.
Yeah.
But every play caller can only call to the strength of their team and the personnel of their team.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So that's the hard part. So at the end of the day, like I said, as much respect and love I've got for Chaney, he's making $1.5 million. So that's what I'm saying. You can not renew, give T the reins. T is proven he can develop wide receivers. Jay Graham has proven he can develop running backs. Now we need a proven quarterback developer. Right?
Yeah.
Preferably somebody that can relate to players, just like Jay and T can.
So, right? Go ahead. Donald.
I'm just saying. I think you got to get, but to do that, you got to start from the top down. I'm cleaning everybody out, but those two, and I'm building a staff around them.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't disagree. Donald asked, is it chicken or the egg with JG and Chaney? I think it's the main problem is JG more than Chaney, because you've seen Jim Chaney at Tennessee coordinate good high-power offenses with different quarterbacks. Like Tyler Bray's not the sharpest tool in the shed, but Jim Chaney.
But the athletes he had was just stupid. But here's the negative. Here's the negative, though.
Yeah.
They never really won.
Well, that's because Sal Sunseri's defense was giving up 42 points a game. But,
also true.
And then so like that 2012 offense was just Dooley's last year. They went 5-7. They had 5 offensive linemen who had time in the NFL. Bray probably going to start for the Chicago Bears on Sunday because Nick Foles might be out. Then you've got Justin Hunter, Cordero Patterson, also with the Bears. Rajon Neal, Michael Rivera, Zach Rogers. You got a lot. Dayrick Rogers before he got kicked off. You got a lot of studs out there, but the quarterback was.
Look what they did. I mean, they threw the ball wherever they wanted. They did whatever they wanted because they had the skill set all around to do it.
And I think this current Tennessee offense, I'm not saying they have that skill set. I'm not saying they have
no.
I'm not saying they have 8 NFL players, but they've got good players. Like they've got highly talented, skilled players when it comes to Palmer. I think Brandon Johnson is legit for a college wide receiver for what Hyatt you're seeing jump up and make plays. Ramel Keaton every once in a while. But you've got Gray and Chandler, who I like a lot. Like the offensive line at times is really good. I think what's missing is the level of play and the cerebral ability between the ears of the quarterback is ruining everything else around it. That's how I say it.
You know a pretty easy way to fix all of it?
What's that?
First off, do what I said and just get rid of everybody but J and T. But second off, look at some of these offenses that are or teams that have offenses that produce. They are very, very, very dumbed down. When I say dumbed down, I'm talking about Auburn.
Yeah.
They don't read a damn thing. Oregon, they don't read a damn thing, right? And Ohio State, Clemson, the list goes on and on. But notice where these guys offensively are in the college ranks. Now, I'm not saying their quarterbacks are going to go produce outside because they're not getting taught anything.
Mm-hmm.
But at least for their college program, they produce.
Yeah.
When I say it's dumbed down, I mean, it's literally, hey, throw the ball to this guy or run.
Yeah.
You're throwing there because I've schemed it to where he will be open no matter what.
Right.
That would be, you could do that. I mean, I'm not saying I necessarily agree with it being a quarterback, but you do produce. I mean,
yeah,
it's hard for me to sit here and watch a guy, JT Daniels, that hasn't played in how long now?
Yeah.
Going to a new team as a grad transfer, gets his first start, 28 of 38, 4-1 and 4 touchdowns. And I'm sitting there going, when did we get that?
He just got cleared physically from his ACL like right before week 1.
Yeah. And actually I was watching the game in between timeouts, and they said the reason why they hadn't played him before is because they didn't feel that he was 100% truly to be able to go take a hit.
And I get
and
that.
Be able to move and move. And I understand that.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunate for them, not having that happen lost them the playoffs. Because if he's playing all year, dude, I feel bad for us if he was playing when we played him after that stat line. I know they were playing Mississippi State, but I mean, his first game back since the first game of last year, and he throws for 401. And it's not like Georgia just has a stud guy. I mean, Pickens is good, but you never know what he's going to do. He's out there. And then the Burton guy is really good. Hell, Burton went for 197 tonight. We can't even throw for 197.
You could run for it, though, because that's what happened tonight.
We can run for it, but we sure as hell can't throw for it. But one receiver can get it at another team that before tonight couldn't throw the ball.
Yeah. Crompton, I've got one parting shot, and I'll allow you to react to it. Next week is Thanksgiving, so we'll be back here for halftime and postgame of the Vandy game. We'll figure out what day works for us best midweek to do the preview. But my parting shot that I'll allow you to react to is apathetic is something that I look at when I look down the road in Nashville at Vanderbilt's fan base. Apathetic is not something I've ever seen, or apathy. It's something I've never seen from the Tennessee Vols fan base. I fear that Jeremy Pruitt returning for 2021 will create apathy within the Vols football program for really the first time in my lifetime. And that's what it feels like right now.
I hate to say it, but I can't disagree. And like I said, it starts at the top. I promise you, he's not going to admit he's wrong. We all know who I'm talking about. The athletic director. He ain't going to admit he's wrong.
No. And you know the guy really well.
He got an extension during a pandemic.
No, like Josh says, it's happening right now. Raging.
Like I'm not being mean. I could use a lot of adjectives. I'll just say I'm not being mean, right? At the end of the day, what has he done to produce an extension? He hired a guy that has given us the first time in the history 5 straight double-digit losses, and he gets an extension?
The reason why I think Fulmer got the extension in May, so I do think the Fulmer extension
doesn't matter.
I know. they should have just come out in May. May was the perfect time to announce the extension for the AD because in May, Jeremy Pruitt went on a recruiting streak and the number one recruiting class in the country. Announce the extension then. That makes all the sense because now everybody's like, oh, cool, sweet, whatever. But and that's the thing about the Fulmer extension that I'm not worked up about. I just get worked up there, but I'm not worked up about the extension is that he didn't have a lot of time left on his current contract, and he was about to go into a contract year. Like 21 was a contract year. His contract expired at the end of 2021. So at this point, and in May, things are going okay. So they probably went to Phil and say, hey, Phil, you're 70 years old. Do you want to keep doing this? And we'll give you a contract extension.
You're not selling me.
He didn't. I'm not selling you. He didn't get a raise. He just got extended on the.
He didn't get a raise, but he gets an annual $400K.
Yeah.
Oh, so his biggest accomplishment so far has been re-signing Rick Barnes, that was hired by the guy before him.
Yeah. Well, and somebody mentioned he did fire Holly Warlick, which I think firing Holly Warlick.
I'm not saying that's a worse. That was probably the right decision.
It was the right decision, and it wasn't an easy decision, and not because he didn't hire Holly, but he was really, really close with Holly Warlick from all the times they were at Tennessee together. Yeah. And so that's not a tough decision. He goes, I think it makes a good coaching hire, bringing in who they got now. I just went blank for whatever reason. But Kelly Harper, thanks guys. But Kelly Harper, I like Kelly Jolly, loved Kelly Jolly back in the 90s. But Fulmer's extension doesn't light me up like Pruitt's extension. But yeah, I even knew that was about recruiting too. So
that was we said down here that was a recruiting tool from day one because he didn't get a raise this year. It starts next year.
Right, but Fulmer did not get a raise. He did
notice what I said earlier. If you don't leave and make an actual name for yourself, in my opinion, it's the good old boys.
Sure.
Right? It's I grew up here, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this, I never left, blah, blah, blah. Well, we used to do it this way. We used to do it this way. We used to do it this way. I'm not saying that's what's happening. I'm just saying that's the stereotypical way that it happens because let's call it like it is. He didn't want to leave the position that he got fired from. Right?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to get fired.
Right.
That's just reality. But so what makes him say, I want to come back? You really think that I don't think he, in the back of the mind, is going, I'm going to make sure I'm the next head coach? I mean, if people want the truth from me, I'll give them the freaking truth. Right? That's what we're on here for. So to me, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, if you want the program to go from down there to get up here, we got to have somebody that you got to start new. You don't bring in it. When did Kansas State excel when they brought back Snyder? No. It was easy to bring him back. That was the easy call because he was familiar with the program. You got to go and find somebody new.
Right.
And get the right people in there. That's my opinion.
I feel like it's deja vu because I'm doing the same thing I did 5 years ago. And I already mentioned 5 years ago is when I knew personally myself that Butch Jones was limited, that Butch Jones was not the guy to be sustained as Tennessee's head coach. And it was the Florida game. And I tweeted out after that too. I knew that the Florida chart game, Butch Jones wasn't it. But what was Butch Jones doing well at the time? Recruiting. And then Butch Jones, after he was exposed from a bad culture, from treating players poorly and having guys transfer out, his recruiting cooled off. Then they were talentless. And that's why Jeremy Pruitt has been struggling so much. Part of why is because they were talentless. Jeremy Pruitt can recruit. I believe that. And I'm
not saying he can't.
Right. And he is recruiting now. Well, they have talent that is young, freshmen, sophomores on the roster right now that are talented football players, I believe. But if they
don't disagree.
If they continue to allow Jeremy Pruitt to make mistakes, have coaching malpractice situations happen on the field in games like at Arkansas, and have his quarterback drive him to the ground and not have a quarterback developer on his coaching staff, the recruiting will cool off. And now we're going to get into a rinse and repeat situation by firing Pruitt after year 5 when now he's not getting good enough recruiting classes. The next guy comes in. He's having to fix that mess instead of knowing when the coach isn't the guy, but he's actually got recruiting okay, and letting somebody who can actually coach come in with those recruits and ball out. Like, I'm not saying you go hire Hugh Freeze, but if Hugh Freeze was coaching this team, they win way more games with the same players because Hugh Freeze knows how to coach.
So you're not wrong on the recruiting, not at all. But his first class, what year are they now?
I'm guessing
juniors.
Juniors, yeah.
This is third year.
Yeah. I'm with you.
I don't know what else to say. They're juniors. Screw it. Redshirt sophomores.
Third year in the program. That's time. Time to start doing something. And the problem is they didn't recruit a quarterback or really put a lot of effort because you got Brian Maurer.
I'm going to say this and then I'm good.
Okay.
Strike 113.
Yeah.
I'm going to give this person some love tonight. Remember when Lane Kiffin was available and we hired Pruitt? You really think that if it was in the best interest of the program, we wouldn't have hired? Look what he's doing at Ole Miss. I'm just being honest. Dude, Ole Miss has lesser talent than we have, and they're balling right now offensively. Their quarterback he's a good athlete, but he's not a good quarterback. No. And he's thrown for 6 touchdowns?
Yep.
Okay? You really think he was going – if it was the best thing for the program, why wouldn't we hire him? Oh, wait, he's the guy that took his job.
Lance Austin brings up Penix at Indiana.
But you see what I'm saying, though?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
If it was in the best interest of the program, why don't you hire the best offensive mind at the time?
Oh, DeReal Gert right here says, remember what Lane Kiffin did with Jonathan Crompton?
I mean, no, but for real, because I played under the other guy. Yes. I saw what we did offensively. I saw the behind the scenes of just how atrocious everything was going on.
Yeah.
I know what it was like.
Rough.
Then you get new blood in there, and everybody's like, oh, dude, this is what it's supposed to be like.
Yep.
Oh, damn. Okay, cool. Look at Montario Hardesty. Dude was arguably – he started as a true freshman, tears his ACL against Ole Miss, and then he doesn't see the field again. Why? Sparingly until our senior year and just balled out. Why? But tell me why. It's almost like everything has always been intentional is what it feels like. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it's what it always feels like with Tennessee right now, especially in the last 15 years. And that's why I will go to my grave saying, if you want to change the program, my God, you better start at the top.
Yeah, and I think
because if you don't, it's not going to change.
Lane Kiffin was never going to happen. I thought Lane is a good coach. Like Lane Kiffin got fired from USC. He had a winning record, but
his USC deal was skewed.
Yeah, like 20 less scholarships.
Exactly, and that also carried over to Sarkisian. So they both were they were both behind the 8 ball.
But Sark went 8-4, 9-4 in year 1.
And shouldn't have, though. That tells you how good of a coaching job he did.
He went 9-4 in year 1, and then he got fired because of the alcohol stuff off the field early in year 2. So, Sark, not a bad coach, had off-field problems. Lane Kiffin, not a bad coach, shouldn't have taken the USC job, and he said that. And
I'll still, if I call Monty up and ask him, he was the most pissed off individual in the world that they left Knoxville.
What's Monty Kiffin these
days? he's at Ole Miss.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah, but because they had planned on making it their retirement.
Yeah.
But it was hard when your quote unquote dream job comes available. That's the hard part.
And I don't blame. I was a sophomore when Kiffin did that at UT, and I don't blame him one bit.
I don't blame him. It sucked.
Yes.
But I don't blame him.
Right.
But to go back to the whole thing about with the Kiffin deal, he may not be the quote unquote best coach in the world, but by God, he surrounds himself with a really good staff every year.
Yes. Yeah. And
every year.
Josh,
because it's not about just your head coach.
Yeah, Josh brings up Freeze had a bad off-field problem, but he's learned and will win. Look, he had a bad off-field problem. Hugh Freeze also had a bad on-field problem with all the money he was paying recruits. So, the Hugh Freeze thing is both.
You know what? You really going to convince me that Alabama's not doing it? I know what Nick Saban offered me. All right. You really think that they're not doing it?
I'll ask you.
I'll tell you this. I'll be the first person to admit I didn't accept $1 from Tennessee. I don't want anything to happen. I promise you. But you'll never convince. In college football in today's world, it's about who doesn't get caught cheating.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. And Hugh Freeze got caught multiple ways.
Multiple ways. You know what? He was balling before he got caught, though.
Yeah, he was. Oh, man. Okay, all right. 55 minutes. I think it's time to call it a night.
I think I need to go to bed.
It's approaching
my coffee
midnight.
kicked in, if you can't tell.
I can't. It's approaching the coffee, the passion carries you to nearly midnight where Crompton's at. All right, guys. Look, awful game by the Vols. Once again, a pick six ruins it for Tennessee in the third quarter. But thank you to you guys for watching. I think a really good post-game show. I don't know. I feel better after this post-game show. I don't know about y'all. I actually feel better.
We just let it out.
Yeah, let it out. All right, guys. Appreciate it.
I let a little bit out tonight, so we'll see if I get any random phone calls.
Well, and Donald says you can't leave us hanging like that, honestly. Like, you did leave us hanging.
Hey, tune in next week.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Hope you all have a night, good, I can't even talk anymore. A great rest of your Saturday night. And Zach and I will see you guys tomorrow for Titan Game Day Live. So the work doesn't stop here. But thanks, guys, for watching. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you later.